Hello, everyone, and thanks for coming to the presentation today. My name is Walker Thompson, so hello, and I'm the Vice President of Sales and Marketing at Win to Manage. And obviously, I think everyone here would know what I'm talking about, or what my point is about the presentation. And we get this a lot at our company. We're a back office enterprise solution, labor scheduling, inventory management, and above so reporting for large enterprises to small coffee shops like mine. Anyway, we get this question a lot. We've got a lot of integrations to different point of sale systems, but this is a common thread. What else could I be doing with my point of sale system? And it's coming from all types of customers. It could be from the small operator to the large operator. It's really, how can I supercharge this thing that I invested so much money into? And that really is some of the heart of my management. And so, with that said, I want to speak to the operators here, but I also want to speak if there's any resellers here, people that actually that sell the point of sale software. Because if you sell point of sale software, there's more than just technology at play inside of a restaurant. Now I know you know that, but there's a lot more to the operation than just sending tickets to the kitchen, having cool technology in a box. There's a lot more going on, a lot more that your operators are actually concerned about. So I really want to speak to three trends that I think are probably going to be pretty obvious to everyone here, but maybe not. All right. First off, who knows that food costs are rising? Okay. Yeah, we're getting lots of competition from China. We all know that there's issues with global climate change and how that impacts corn. It also the cost of getting those supplies to your customers. Well, that's also rising. What I have on the screen here, this is readily available information. Talking about the World Food Index compared to the Brent oil prices. So obviously a strong correlation to oil prices and food costs, right? So if you guys didn't know this, Cisco actually has one of the largest fleets in the world. They're actually one of the largest non-fleet companies in the world. They sell food, but their fleets are huge. So those trucks cost a lot of money to fuel to get you the food products that you need. So think about that, right? If I store something on my shelf, I want to leverage that product to the nth degree. And speaking of products, it really doesn't matter what type of food product it is, from meat to dairy, cereals, oils. It's all rising. It's all going to hit us, even in the future. Of course, as the competition isn't going to get less as the population grows. And just out of my own curiosity, I looked up how many people might be looking for a restaurant inventory system. If you would have looked up the same query about 5 years ago, I think there would have been like 7 results. Now there's over 11 million, and that's articles, that's product, that's blog posts, that's commentary, that's reviews, that's consultants talking about this, and actually that's a really interesting point. A lot of consultants are always talking about operational management when it comes to food and labor costs. But the trend in growth in inventory searches and curiosity, even in our business, we're getting a lot more inquiries about inventory. How does it work? How does it maximize my operational command and control? Well, another part of this, like I mentioned just briefly ago, labor costs. So when you think about a restaurant, it's its own mini commodity market, and it's not just food commodity, it's actually human resource commodity. And I had to pull up another statistic. Obviously, I tried to make a point here, that labor costs are also out of control. It's not that they're just out of control. It's I shouldn't say it's that they're rapidly increasing. There was last month a report that the increase was substantial, and that productivity had actually gone up. Labor costs actually gone up a little too. But again, a restaurant's got to manage this cyclical nature of labor. So again, the business has a lot of needs when it comes to sales and forecasting sales and forecasting labor expenses. And that's just an up and down kind of activity. You're never going to nail it, but managing it is critically important and has become even more critically important, especially as labor costs gone up. We all had a big scare with the Affordable Care Act. How would that impact our business? What would we do about it? How would we control our labor costs? And that's just another impact on the small businesses and large businesses that use hourly labor. So when I think about food and labor and the data and operational command and control functions and information that's being shared and being utilized, it comes to one thing, and that's data. And that one thing impacts your business greater than a lot of other things. And when I say things, I mean the data inputs, the outputs, excuse me, of the data that's coming from the point of sale system, from clock in and clock outs, from the invoices from your suppliers. A lot of these are controllable expenses, and if you're really not keen on that data and looking at the threats and opportunities of business, well, like this article stated very well, and I encourage you all to read it, you're losing money. You're losing a lot of money. Labor and food costs are one of the last places of controllable expenses. And again, resellers, think about that. A lot of times they can't control their credit card rates. It's as low as it's going to go, and that's it. It's cost of doing business. A lot of times they can't control their rent, but they can leverage as much as possible those food products that have been brought to the location, and they can leverage the productivity of their workforce. This is a great article that also speaks to check averages and the ability to upsell, cross-sell, knowing that data so again you can maximize those opportunities and limit the threats to the business. Okay, quick little plug on our solution. We've got, like I mentioned, a web-based solution that does capture a lot of inventory transactions from your suppliers, allows you to do physical inventory, allows you to report and find those trends of the negative or positive trends. It kind of puts every piece of the operation into one bucket, if you will, and it's really an operational process tool that keeps everybody in line. So when I like to say, I like on the left hand side there, it's to me this is you add on 100 different things, and you're really looking at a manager's day. A manager's life is busy, 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 right? And so what you have to get to, even at my little coffee shops, was a sustained environment of busyness. So in other words, if all they're doing is making things up as they go and just being bombarded with non-process oriented operations, then how can you measure that? So what Win to Manage offers is a sustained operational model that's highly mobile. And with that said, what I'm going to do quickly is just talk about a few of those mobile features here. And I'll go ahead and pop this up on the screen. Of all of you probably are aware, we do have a web-based version of our platform. And inside that platform are all the command and control functions that I mentioned, a lot of the settings functionality, a lot of the higher end tasks and enterprise tasks will happen here. However, with our mobile solution, which is you can kind of built on responsive design, so it kind of scales as to the device, a lot of the operational tasks at the manager level can be completed quickly. So for example, I want to see who's working. So I can see all my shifts here on my tablet, if you will. Who's working, if modifications are needed, those modifications can be made. Reports. Again, like I mentioned, showcasing the reports of all that's happening in the operation is going to be critical. I should also mention that we have an alerts tool that will send out alerts based on a trigger that you set. So, for example, if you don't want your labor costs going above $1,500, no problem. The system will alert you when that happens. Here, for example, I can see again a lot of my key reports that are my favorites. A lot of our customers will favorite these reports and say these are the most important reports that you need to be reading on a daily basis. Now getting to more the inventory side. Physical inventory can be completed on an iPad or a tablet, if you will, inside of this solution. So now I can walk around the store with my tablet, not only maybe checking in my reservations or maybe looking at reports, but if I got 15 minutes, might as well go do a count. Might as well run a count, part of my count sheet, my weekly count, maybe in the freezer. It could be hot anyway, so I might as well go check it out. So at that point, if I want to start to edit my count, I can do so and start to track these items that are in the freezer. So productivity can be managed, and what we've done here is just set a weekly count in motion. Right now, you probably have a worksheet that does this as well, or maybe a clipboard that you use. Well, on this iPad solution, it's real time. So you're actually completing those actuals, which is critical, managers in the room, to maybe even earning a little bit more bonus. Because at the end of the day, theoretical management is really important, but having your actuals, knowing what was the actual invoice and what did you actually receive and use, that's also very keen in controlling those expenses. how many are multi-unit operators? Okay, so quite a few. In that respect, we do have a transfer solution that's also layered in a commissary functionality, so you can transfer product from one location to another. So you can see here I have a commissary that's waiting for approval. They've received a transfer request. The commissary can actually complete the transfer or not. Maybe allocate only certain products back to a particular location, again, as they see fit and what they have in production. Same thing with the store. I can also transfer a product from one store to another. Now, a lot of you inside of your inventory usage reports, you might have a waste tracking area. For example, on your Excel spreadsheets that may or may not contain ideal usage, i.e. sales, but you do have an area that says this is what we wasted. So it could be, back to the freezer example, we actually have frozen hot dogs that that got freezer burn, unfortunately, and it's a case. So we're going to mark that as a freezer burn, or we're going to mark that as a waste event here on this particular day. So I can declare that waste, or print a worksheet out, put it behind the bar, and say, hey, if you maybe spill some mixers or whatever, just go ahead and declare that waste here. So you can do that all again online. And one of the final things is the production cycle. So batch recipes, butcher events, those are all important trackable activities. And I say that because what's happening with our solution, what we're doing in this example is stating that there's a recipe behind this prep event. So I'm actually pulling the ingredients from the line or from the shelf or what have you, and I'm actually creating these two batches, a beef-based minestrone and a chicken-based minestrone. And the person that actually did this work was Joe Dunbar. Now, if I use this system a lot and consistently, you can actually use our suggested prep report that's going to pull in your forecasted sales, your actual sales, some of your last production, and start to recommend prep. Very similar to what a lot of the burrito chains or anybody who has to do a lot of prep do on a daily basis. How much do I need to prep? So I say all this point of sale reseller because restaurant operations was first web-based. Where that was a big innovation. I want to do all this web-based. In fact, a lot of those systems still, a lot of customers we get are moving from a client-side system to a web-based solution. It's a big aha moment. But in addition to that, it's mobile. So not only are they, wanting the transaction at the guest side to be mobile, they're actually wanting every bit of the operation to be mobile, from reporting, from labor scheduling to inventory management. So a lot to talk about there and a lot to do in leveraging the point of sale system that you have and improving some of your operations. So with that said, thank you very much for your time, and I do hope this has been helpful.